Hardest thing is starting, isn't it?
Just starting, yeah. Welcome. Today we're talking brand, and I have with me Bruijn, who has worked with brand at the highest level, making some of Australia's most iconic advertising campaigns. I literally grew up. I didn't know this, but I watch all these ads when I'm growing up, and I love that ad. Turns out this guy made pretty much all of the ones that I loved. And what I want to learn from Rem today is working with brand at such a high level, and there's obviously a strategy and a thought pattern that goes along with that. I want to see how we can apply big brand to individual and personal brand. So thanks for joining me, Graham.
Yeah, no worries. Got to get used to the microphone.
Get used to the little thing, yeah. So first, I just wanted to ask, what is a brand? What is a brand to you?
Well, it's a really, really good question. It's kind of when I do brand work, it's what I ask the room to get everybody's ideas on what they think brand is. I'll hold up a picture of a Nike logo and say, what comes to mind? And all different things will come to mind. So some people will say, oh, sport, or Michael Jordan, or sweatshops, or whatever. And then I do the same with the Coca-Cola logo, and then I do it with Amnesty International, so not for profit. And interestingly, a lot of people don't even know what that brand is about, which is a valid response as well. And then I do it with Kate Blanchett, a photo of Kate Blanchett, which makes them start really thinking, what are we talking about here? And often it goes quiet simply because they don't know why I've gone from logos to a face. And so I will lead the witness and say, trashy? And everyone goes, no, she's elegant, sophisticated, cool, Australian, all of these things. And then I define a brand. It's just simply that which exists in people's hearts and minds about you. So notably, you don't own that. They do. It's their heart, it's their mind. But you can seek to influence it. And a key part of that is, living what your brand stands for authentically and consistently. So it's simply that which exists in people's hearts and minds about you.
So what I love about that answer is that you can totally apply that to a company, but that is such a universal thing that you can definitely apply that to a human, because you think about what you want to be known for or what you know someone else for, and she has this place in my heart because of this, and that's her brand to me. And that's my interpretation of that person. It could be a totally different interpretation to you.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. So what becomes important is working out who you're really targeting, what unites the different people who you are targeting. There'll be what we call a conceptual target. So it's a mindset that they all buy into, so you can speak to them with one voice. And then don't worry about who you can't get, because they're not going to come to you anyway. So yeah, you just got to work out who you're speaking to, and make sure that your product and your business or your service is what they want, meets their core desire, alleviates their core fears, and you understand what the role of the brand is in that relationship.
Well, that's a good lead into, because that sounds like a bit of a framework. And so I want to get, what do you think about when you're constructing a big brand? Is there some principles that you follow and go through when you're thinking about constructing a brand messaging, how they want to be perceived?
Yeah, I have a process which would take clients through, which is we call brand DNA positioning. So you're trying to work out what's at the core, what's the DNA of your brand. And that will be rational as well as emotional / personality. So, you try and work out firstly, where is the brand now in people's hearts and minds? What does it stand for? We have 3 rational attributes, and then 3 corresponding personality traits. And so the question is, why 3? Because 4 is a shopping list, and 2 is not enough. So you're really trying to triangulate what you want them to think and triangulate what you want them to feel, and then the personality that delivers that. So you work out where you think you are, and then you work out where you think your competitive set is and where the opportunity is, and you see what's the best stretch that you can take the brand from what people think of you now, because that's what they think. And you think, I think this brand has permission to stretch to here. So sometimes, you don't have permission. So there's a notable story when McCann Erickson, globally, I think out of America, they were looking after Vaseline intensive care, which I think is a part of Johnson & Johnson? I'm not sure. But anyway, they had Johnson & Johnson Vaseline intensive care, yeah. So they had a daily hand wash, and the scientists found out that the efficacy of that hand wash from a moisturising point of view was better than, say, a Pond's hand cream. So they said, we should just start promoting this as what you use as hand cream. And it bombed because people go, no, that's just a pump pack hand wash. I get my Pond's hand cream from the beauty counter in a beautiful packet and all that sort of stuff. And it was kind of like that brand didn't have permission to go there. It just didn't seem credible. And that had nothing to do with fact. It was really where it sat in people's...
It was emotional.
They just thought, this is not what I'm doing for my hand cream. It's like, I don't know the exact reasons why it didn't work, but that is why the frameworks were developed, to find the permissible stretch.
Okay, just circling back real quick, give me an example of the practical and emotional.
Oh gosh. So, some of this is proprietary, so I've got to be careful not to say something about that I know from a client that...
Can we use old stuff? Maybe even some of the examples that we have of some of your older work.
I just can't think of them off the top of my head. So I know that where Range Rover, like 20 years ago, when they built their desired brand DNA, what they wanted people to think and feel, they had Old British Adventure, which is personality. Means Old English Adventure, which is, from a personality point of view, elegant. It means Old English Adventure was intrepid. There was another one that meant elegance, and then the last one was indestructible, which is arrogant. And you go, why would you want arrogant? But what they ended up doing, the communication that came out of that, they had the old double-page spread ads in a motoring or lifestyle magazine, and on the left side it had the Range Rover in front of an English mansion with a circular driveway and the fountain in the middle, and it just said rich. And then on the right-hand side, where the logo sits down the bottom, it had the same Range Rover in the Indian jungle going through the mud, and it said filthy rich. So that's the personality of the brand. And of course, the Range Rover driver goes, oh, that's fantastic. Let's go shoot a fox. But then, if indestructible was for Hilux, it would be unbreakable. So it'd be about being tough and just resilient and can't be beaten. Whereas this is, get out of the road, I'm coming through India. So that personality is obviously really important. So that's an example of where they got to. I don't know what they had before. I can't think of one that I'm working on that I'm allowed to share with you. So
that's okay. Yeah. Okay, so you work out where they're allowed to stretch to. What's next?
Well, then you sort of go, okay, we have a thing called a selling strategy or a communication strategy, where you, in order to get from where you are to where you want to go, you have like a selling idea, a thing that gets you from where you are to where you want to go. And that'll be based on understanding who your conceptual target is. So a conceptual target is a way of defining all your multiple targets. You might, for example, in aged care, you're going to have the oldest adult daughter who's making a lot of decisions, and she's a primary carer for her elderly parents. And then there's the actual old people as well. But there'll be a common mindset there. And we give that a name. So... I can't say. But then they'll have their core desire, and then they'll have their core fear. And fear is a big one in the aged care category. And then you work out what's the role of the brand to alleviate the fear, deliver on the desire, and create what they call emotional proximity to the brand, so that people feel more inclined to go to that brand. So I mean, that's one of the ads you talked about. We had developed a really, really strong affinity and likability for the brand that end up being just a massive business multiplier. So,
Which example was that?
Oh, that was like the RACQ "We'll Help You Wherever We Can" campaign, which had the most famous ad from that was the charter boat. What charter boat?
I think because I think about that, like all of the different ads that were in that campaign, I like how you say like people can relate to it, like because everyone literally lived each one of those scenarios in their own kind of way for that emotional connection.
Yeah. So a good one to talk about there. I can probably talk about brand stretch there, because when we got the brand, this is 20 years ago? Yeah. So RACQ was one of the most trusted brands in Queensland. And they actually did stress tests to see, what RACQ could sell you if they wanted to. And basically they said, could it sell you insurance? Well, it already was. They had RACQ GIO insurance. Could it sell you travel? Absolutely. Could it sell you credit cards or home loans or all of these other things? And it just was yes, because they were very well trusted. And they're the good guys who come to your rescue and sort things out on the side of the road. So their existing positioning was roadside assist, but the desired positioning, the stretch, was to life assist. And so at the time there was RACQ Club, roadside assistance, and then there was RACQ GIO insurance. Now, insurance as a category is a grudge purchase. No, but you wouldn't buy insurance if you didn't have to.
You don't buy it because you really want it.
Yeah,
you have to have it.
You're betting something's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
And they're hoping that you lose that bet, and so are you, really. But in the meantime, money goes through. And so it's a grudge purchase, and there's a lot of churn and dissatisfaction in that category. So what we suggested, this is when I was at McCann Erickson, big multinational agency, but based in Brisbane we were at the time. We suggested that they drop GAO from the name and just become RACQ Insurance, which is the good guys of insurance that come to your rescue. And then, we made a campaign that was, because they didn't need trust, we thought, well, you just need likability. So we created the campaign. There was 9 ads that were released to begin with. There was 3 for RACQ Club and 6 for insurance, and we really blurred the lines of what was what, and it all just seemed like the one brand. And the net result was that whenever people decide they're going to change insurer, they'll have a shopping list. They'll have a few on a list. Sometimes there's 4, sometimes there's 3, sometimes there's 2. But what ended up happening was that whenever their competition advertised on TV or radio, whatever, RACQ's phone would ring. So this is Suncorp, NRMA, Amy. They all outspend RACQ by 10 to 1 at that time.
There can't be any better advertising than when your competition sends you work from their own spend.
Yeah, that's it. And what they all profile their customers a certain way. So RACQ wouldn't get all of them, but they get the ones they wanted. So that was an example, I guess, of a brand stretching from roadside assist to life assist, and then I guess going from that strategy to it being successful is the actual creative work and the expression of the brand, and it became just really well liked. So likability goes a long way.
Well, I think that's a good tie-in to, okay, how do we apply some of those principles to personal branding? And I think because a lot of my clients or people that really are thinking about personal brand, they usually have quite high ticket or high leverage kind of products and services, which generally means people need to really trust you to want to buy that or use them in any way. Why did RACQ have so much trust, and why were they able to just then that allowed them to do anything, and how can we apply that to personal brands? How can we do it?
Well, RACQ was established as a motoring club in 1905. So for 100 years, they'd rescued people. And there wasn't really complaints about RACQ. RACQ just was like, oh, thank God you're here, you know. So, and they're all around Queensland. You know that as a RACQ club member, wherever you go, they'll come to your rescue. There's always an RACQ agent or connected, affiliated mechanic in every town. And so just over a long time of being, you know, just reliable and just turning up and just being awesome and just doing what they say they'll do, they were just trusted. They'd earned that trust, and there was no personality to that other than, g'day, we're here to help you out. We'll give you a tow, whatever it is. So there was the stuff that we did, the trust wasn't built by that. But once you've got the trust, then, you know, the other thing is trust doesn't cut through, you know, it's not sexy. Trust isn't sexy, and it's not funny, and it's not relatable and all that sort of stuff. It's just there. So by making them more likable, relatable, and, you know, the story of those ads wasn't about RACQ. It was about the people that use RACQ, the Queenslanders. So
normal people.
Because everyone could see themselves or someone they knew in those ads, it just felt close to them.
Okay, so trust in regards to personal branding can be built by staying true to your word, offering a really, really good product for a long period of time, or like a good period of time to build it up.
Yeah. And I thought about this before we got on, because obviously the stretch from, you know, corporate brand or retail, commercial brand to personal brand, there's similarities. Like with commercial brands, we're always trying to personify them in some ways, to think of what human would they be, amongst other things, but that's part of it. So, and then when you think about yourself, anyone thinking about personal brand, I think the first thing you need to do is build your reputation for doing what it says on the can. So you got to work out what offering, what makes you special, what your point of difference is, why people are going to buy you, and they're going to buy you because they believe that you're going to make a difference to them in a certain way. So you need to intimately understand the value you're providing to them.
Actually provide value. Don't be a charlatan. Like
absolutely provide value. So it's really interesting. So most guys who do what I do aren't real good at personal brand. I've talked to you about that because they spend their whole time being considerably better than what they say about themselves. So doing what we do is quite humbling. Like you get told you're shit constantly, and then you get up and go again, and you prove that you're not. And there's a point where people know you're good, and things change. So, but even then, someone who doesn't understand who's your client can still reject it. A saying I have is, if your client thinks you're a dickhead, you're a dickhead. You're not getting the chance to be the genius that you are, or whatever it is, if they think that. And if they think you're a genius, they'll give you a chance to prove them right. And when you do prove them right, they feel good about the decision.
I picked him. He's my dude. I was smart enough that I knew that guy's got my back. He's got me covered. Okay, so be good at job, deliver. Then now something, I think the next part, which is really important, and like it sounds so simple, and it almost feels silly to say it, but like becoming likable, having people like you, that is such an overlooked thing, or like, you know, people just don't even think about it, of how do we do that. So in regards to maybe using RACQ, or even bringing the learnings from that to personal branding, how can we do that as an individual level?
Well, it depends how long your relationship's going to be with the client. So they may not need to like you. So for example, in advertising agency land, when a client chooses an agency, they're choosing a relationship that's going to be daily or next to daily for the next few years. So we used to say, this is a date. They've got to imagine they can spend 3 hours on a plane with you and enjoy it. So you've got to be good to deal with. So they're buying what you do, but they're also buying you. If you're not having a long relationship and you just need to provide a one-off service to lots of people, transferring confidence. They just need to believe that you're going to be able to do what it is that they're wanting from you, and hopefully be excited about it. So transferring confidence is super important, because then they're actually backing you and letting you do your job. And you just need to do what you already know you can do really well. Mm-hmm. If you're faking it, you better, deliver. Mm-hmm. Surprise yourself even.
Yeah. But, fuck, I did a good job. Never done that before.
But it's interesting with personal branding. Like I think a lot of professionals, they take a long time to become an overnight success. Like they're dressed for the party before they turn up. They don't just turn up and go, "Hey, I'm here," and they carry themselves with the confidence of knowing what they're doing. They don't jump straight into it. But just have a chat at the bar first. Let's not jump straight into marriage or anything like that. But
I think something you said there, though, like how you say, like, some personal brands and professionals take a long time to become overnight success, and they have to.
Yep.
There's a kind of a way of saying "fake it till you make it," but because I don't actually like that term. There's no need to fake it at all. Just something I say all the time, like, do the things that dude or the girl that is the pinnacle of success that you want to become. Just do those things now.
That's it.
And you become the guy along the way.
You do. And I think the core thing with anything where you're making a promise that you then have to deliver on, and particularly if it's commercial, is, will I be able to fulfill that promise? And I think even if you can do it on your ear.
What does that mean for the young?
Just do it easy.
Just
do it easy. When put under the flame of that interaction, you'll second guess yourself, particularly if you're performance minded and you really want to deliver value. So I think the fake it till you make it is almost fake your confidence.
Yes.
But don't fake your ability.
Yes. So with likability, and I know you said that you might only have a short relationship to it, so this depends on how much they need to like you, because it can be a short relationship. I would almost argue that even if it might be a short relationship, I would still want to get the likability of someone that wants a long relationship, because they will transfer that. It might not be a short relationship for you, but they can tell another person. So like, you're transferring that relationship to the next person, and then they'll really like it, and the next person, and then it becomes a long relationship through a chain of that one interaction with them. Yeah,
and I don't think it's necessarily doesn't have to be about making friends.
Yes.
I work with I'm not going to plug another photographer whilst I'm saying but I work with a guy who worked on Country Road, and he'd worked in New York and all sorts of stuff, like he's big name sort of dude. And he was really low key and really low touch with us as well. It's just like, "Oh, how you going?" Yeah. And he just went about and did his job. And you're sitting there going, well, he was polite, but ready to get stuck in. And now he's just taking photos. He's not talking to us. He's just doing what he's doing. And you sit there, and I think I've just said this to you before. You sort of, okay, that's a photo, that's a photo, that's a photo. That's a fucking image. Look at that. He found it. And then he moves to the next one, and the next one, it was low, fast, it was easy. There was no stress, because he quickly revealed his skill, his unbelievable skill. And I've never forgotten it. So he didn't do anything to endear himself to me. There was no overt promises or anything like that. He was just confident in, I'd seen his work, and we were employing him to do that. So he's just professional, went about it, got it done, no fuss, finished, easy. And, he took the check and went, and I'd give it to him again. So he's never come asking for work either. So I kind of get the idea that he must be really busy and must be really wanted. So that's another thing. I don't know how much of what he's doing is strategic, but I'd call that.
Some people are naturals. Like, they just, I try and apply a lot of thought, because like, what if we can systemize this and teach it to people and help other people be good at it? But there are, in a lot of things, people are just naturally good at promoting themselves or being liked by someone, but it can also be trained.
Yeah, for sure. So I think the if we were going to put a name on that, there's people who say, hey, I can do this for you, I can do that. That's push strategy.
Yes.
There's others like this guy. It's pull strategy. He's creating something that's magnetic and you come to, and he's never pushing himself. He's just drawing you in. So he might not have a clue about that. He may not. He probably doesn't overthink it.
Well, by the sounds of it, it just sounds like that's his personality, and it just happens that that's
strategy is something you can think about. Is it's not about selling; it's making people want to buy, and that can be easy to deal with, quick, knows what he's doing, low fuss, low touch, unbelievable end product.
I think that just in general should be the bench line for any interaction with a company or a person, how to operate. Because like if you can do those things, like as the bare minimum, people are going to come back, like for the most part, and then you can worry about the fancy stuff later. Like we can talk about how do you, what sort of fancy tricks or fancy strategies you use with this kind of branding to take you somewhere. And like that all doesn't really matter unless this base stuff is dialed in.
Yep.
Because like if they come and then like that worked, but then you're a pain in the ass to deal with. You're not good at operating.
Yeah.
You think your shit doesn't stink when they actually get there. It's like all that work that you just did to get that customer, which is with a sick campaign, was for nothing because then they don't end up buying.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But I mean, I think the other thing too is like, I think he's just so in his lane, this guy, that he's not seeing other opportunities or looking for them. He just wants to keep doing the thing he's doing over and over again. It obviously pays really well and gives him the life he wants. And he's just sticking in his lane. If that lane were to dry up, he'd have to think differently. And I think, you know, the stuff you're doing with personal branding is you're understanding and seeking to understand what are the forces behind it. And so, you know, somebody might be coming for a portrait photograph because they need one, but then it's like, well, we can give you a photo or we can give you an image that moves your personal brand forward. That's right for, you know, the person you are. It's authentic and it stands out, is interesting, is elevated. And then they go, well, what else do I do? Well, let's talk about design and we talk about other things. So thinking about all of these things is, I think it's really smart. I think that's not many people are doing it.
Well, hopefully I'm only the dude, and so I get so much work because I'm the only one doing it. I
didn't say that. I just don't know anyone else.
Well, like it's funny because I've gone down that route. You know, when you're in something, you start seeing it more and noticing. It's like, oh, you're not special. There is other people that think like this or that are trying to do the same kind of thing. However, when you also take yourself out of it and try and look at it from a higher view kind of thing, you realize, oh, it actually is a lot rarer than you might think.
Well, again, like I think in our industry, there's artists, commercial artists are so driven to be excellent at their craft that you remain forever humble, and there's almost like an unwritten code of not sticking your head out. So there's not that many people, and so they depend on someone else to do the business for them, and that's very risky. And so what you're doing is you're using all of your strengths to provide extra value. So I think that's the brand that you're creating, and the fact that I'm sitting here talking with you and all that sort of stuff is it's unique, and I think the word I use like is it resonates as being something of value. People go, oh, hang on, this isn't just about pretty pictures. It's about more than that. This could really be a benefit to me. And you know, you're dealing with smart people, high net worth individuals, ambitious sports people, and they're motivated. So yeah.
Usually I've found like when they, you know, because of that demographic of the kind of people that I work with, when they hear that hold on, there's more that I can be doing that I can get from this guy to help me better myself, it's like, cool, what else can I get from him? And that's sort of by intention as well.
Because the photograph just not being a snapshot from, the fact that they're coming to a professional for a photograph says that they're trying to elevate their presentation,
their image,
themselves.
themselves. Yeah. Like, well, look, honestly, I had a situation of this yesterday. I went to a networking thing and I was invited by one of my clients who is launching her new brand. It's in, she's a buyer's agent and they're doing real estate a little bit different though. And we did a portrait shoot for their branding of her and her husband, who is her business partner. And as part of the branding, it has their pictures in it. And you could see everyone in the room, and they even called it out. It's like, oh, those images look really great of you. Who took that? I was like, this guy. But the point of like, they had not seen her like that before.
Yeah.
And it elevated her brand as a person and her companies because they see her in a different way.
Yeah.
And it's just from a portrait that we were able to take, and that's like one piece of it. And it's like, cool, what's the next thing? It's like, oh, well, in regards to her, now we're going to be doing an interview with her and Maria Fair, just docs their name. Denise and Murray, lovely people. I can't wait to do this actually. Doing an interview with them to get more of their message about where they come from, because they actually have a fucking interesting life. They've done so much random stuff that's really interesting. How their agency is different, because it is genuinely different. Why they've decided to go into this. And all of these little pieces stack up so that everyone in that room and then everyone that they want to work with, they go, holy shit, they are different. Yeah. They can help me in a way that all of these other people that are not doing anything like that, or not doing any kind of media at all, which makes the bar pretty low, sets them apart so much.
Yeah, I think like they say, everybody has a story, and interesting, successful people have
usually have good stories.
Good stories, and some of them get told. So if you're looking like the weekend magazines of the newspapers, and you see 3 pages and a beautiful full-page photograph of someone, it's almost like this person is worth knowing about for the fact they're in the magazine. You read their story, you go, oh, that's great, but most people would have a story that could be written about them that is pretty interesting, because
everyone got something.
That's it. So all of a sudden, when you shoot like that, it almost at a subconscious level just triggers this person, and that you write a story around it that is interesting. This person is the real shit, because they've actually got what all these famous people have got. And even if you meet them in real and they're far more humble, you've still... Any good photo is an authentic photo. Like you can tell when they're kind of staged, and sometimes just looking at, oh wow, that's that person. So even if you capture that moment and then you see them in real and they're much more normal, you still know that's part of them.
Yeah, that exactly. That's part of them. That brand, that emotion, what would you say? Where they live in your mind and your heart, that has already been imprinted into them.
That's it.
That they can't lose. They can't unsee the picture or feel that feeling unless you do something for your brand that does to the detriment of it and that kind of thing.
Yeah, you can soil it.
yeah. You can totally trash it. You don't want to do that. You mentioned resonance, so I want to read you. I thought it was really interesting because, like, I've heard you say it before. It's on your website, and I'm like, okay, it sounds like it's got a bit of a fancy word. I don't really know what it means. I know how to use it, and then I was like, you know what? That actually is so bang on for branding, especially when I read the physics meaning for resonance. The reinforcement or prolongation of sound by reflection from a surface or by the synchronous vibration of a neighboring object. Now, lots of big words, but more to the point was the reinforcement and the prolongation, or to prolong the reinforcement or prolong the image that you have of something, and by a reflection of the surface, or a reflection of yourself, or a reflection of the brand. Yes, that's more those, like when we dumb it down a little bit and start using them, that reflection and the prolonged reflection of you or of a brand, I think is so important. So talk to me about why you use resonance and why that is so applicable for you when building a brand.
Okay. So I think all brands are part rational, part emotional. and the emotion's the way in. Like people respond intuitively, emotionally, based on everything that's already in their mind.
We're emotional creatures. We do that.
It's the way. There's a great book by a man named Daniel Kahneman, which is called Thinking Fast and Thinking Slow. So when you're working stuff out, you got to think really hard and solve the problem. And
Such a good book.
You got it.
I actually still haven't finished it. I stopped reading it a couple of years ago, but
Fast and Slow.
Banger.
Yeah. So basically, when you're working stuff out, that's hard, and it takes a long time. And then you go, oh, I've got it, and then you file it away. So next time something happens, it just comes flying off, and you think fast. So, when you're trying to tap into the things that are already in people's hearts and minds. And so, I started off as a person working in advertising, and my primary job as a junior copywriter was to cut through the noise, get noticed. But then they say a brand is what's left after the ad's over. So what sticks? So, often when we're doing ads, you look for a human insight that you base your brand story or your ad on, such that people look at it and go, yeah, relatable. I get that. Oh, that rings true for me. And so resonance is just simply ringing true, like a bell rings true. And so, but to me, it's about having things that stick and persuade beyond just getting noticed. Yeah.
But just that line itself, a brand is what's left when the ad is finished.
Yeah.
So by that you could reverse engineer, what do I want to be left at the end of this? Cool. What do we need to make to do that?
Yeah. And then for people.
And then, exactly. But the same with people.
After you've left the bar.
Yep.
What's left?
After you've left the bar, after you've made the content, after you've gone to the networking thing, after you've been on an interview, what do you want to be left?
Yeah, sorry, I use the left the bar thing as a relationship thing where you meet someone for the first time, where whether it's just another guy or a girl or whatever, but whatever the nature of that relationship, there is a hello, there's a getting to know each other, and that'll end what impressions left. So, but there, in a business sense.
Well, that is a business. That can be a business sense. You're meeting people. Your personal brand is not just an online thing. It's also, their meet space, the in-person. How do I shake their hand? How do I interact with them, looking them in the eye, or however you want to do it? That's part of your brand. It all exists together. Because if there is a big disconnect from... You come off as this confident person online because it's only you in your bedroom making videos or whatever it is that you do. But then you meet them in person and you're actually super shy or overly humble or whatever it is. There's a massive disconnect there, and then people lose trust because that doesn't match.
Just get confused.
And confused. Yeah. Exactly. That doesn't match. So all levels, how you meet someone, how you present yourself online, how you've been written about in text. It all needs to be cohesive.
And when we're doing, brand development for a big corporate brand, one of the things we do is that we list all of the brand contact points. So whether it's your email signature, it's the way you answer the phone, it's your fleet cars, it's your ads, it's the PR that's been written about you, it's whatever it is, your customer experience, your website. You write them all in order of importance, and then we kind of go, well, how remarkable is that out of 10? And we have a dial, like a volume dial on a old graphic equalizer, So, right now we're sitting at 4 there, and we're 7 for that one. We've actually varied between 2 and 8 on this, and then you work out how remarkable do you want it to be. So, what we mean remarkable is literally getting talked about. So, professional's not remarkable. Professional's expected. So, some things don't need to be more than average. Just don't matter. What your invoices look like is probably not the most important thing. But then you work out where you put your priority. But the point is, with this list of things, everything communicates. Every single thing communicates.
See, what I really like is when, Apple's the famous example. No one cares what the inside of the box looks like, Steve. It's like, yes, I do. I care.
Yeah.
I care.
Yeah.
No one cares what the inside of the computer looks like. I care.
Yeah.
So when I really like when brands or individuals, something that would just be, it's okay just to be professional about it or whatever, but they've obviously gone to a big effort because you don't do that for that specific thing. And you're fuck, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's really,
exactly.
and that is another way to stand out.
Yeah. So, I mean, Apple are classic at that. And, Steve Jobs basically said it's design isn't how something looks, it's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at an Apple product and you go, but it looks beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, but that's it's how it works. And then you kind of go, oh wow, it's magic. So yeah, he's a master of branding. Well, he was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dude, that was amazing. I could honestly, there's so many things that you've said along there that I could just pick apart. So I think we need to have a round 2.
Sure.
But thank you so much. Is there anything that you'd like to leave us with that's like just a really key thing to think about when you're thinking about and designing your own brand?
I think with personal brand, just work out. There's 2 things. What's needed? Like where's something that's going to be lucrative for you? That's actually something you really want to do,
Mm-hmm.
and something that you can be good at, and then work really hard to be great at it.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, when you do promote yourself, you're not over-promising. And everyone's nervous when you do these things. You need to transfer confidence. So you need to get yourself to a place where you are just really certain that this person's going to benefit from what you do. Mm-hmm. So you're never selling, you're equipping them to buy. Mm-hmm. That's it. So just find out what you want to be that, and just be a lighthouse. Just keep putting that out into the world. And the ships that are meant to see that lighthouse and turn away will, and the ones that are meant to come to you will. So that's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Ram.
Cool. Cheers.
Cool. Cheers,
fun.
dude.
How long was that?
I don't know. There we go. 42, I think. I think we nailed the timing.
What was it, 30 or 20?
42 minutes.
42, fuck.